It's Alexander Sebastian with our 16th edition of Parents as Partners, and today we're going to be talking about something that I think is very important and something that's disappearing in our society, and that's the family dinner. When I was a kid, we used to say the family that dines together binds together. Well, you know, with the busy schedules that every family has now, when the kids are called to the dinner table, they seem to regret being pulled away from their gadgets, and they come and they eat as fast as they can, and then they slip back into the rooms and into the world, into the virtual worlds. But and more with the busy parents and this culture that everybody has to be engaged and active and dynamic. Parents are, after dinner, they're always often going out to meetings or to the gym or yoga, some kind of social obligation, political rallies or something, and the kids are left on their own anyway, and they want to go out too. So dinner is really just a time to fill up the tank and get on with the other things that we think are important in life, missing what's really essential. Eventually, I'm afraid, family dinners, which were sacred when I was a child, within one generation, I can see them becoming something like church. Of course, I was raised to go to church every Sunday, and then it became every important holiday like Christmas and Easter, and then it became not at all. Well, I think family dinner is going the same route. Eventually, it will become just something people do when they get together on special occasions. And this whole disintegration of the family having dinner together started with World War I and continued in World War II when the men were away in the battlefields and the women were called to the factories and into the workforce. And so there was less time to prepare meals, and even women enjoyed that independence and the salary that they were coming in, that was coming in from the factory work. And this, after World War II, in America anyway, things kind of reverted to the old family style of mom being at home cooking a dinner and dad coming in and, honey, what's for dinner? And everybody around the table talking. Well, with the television coming into everybody's house, that was the first recent attack on families and dinners, because with the television on, there wasn't any communication about what was happening to the individuals in the family. If they were talking, it was probably about what was happening on the television. And then with more affluence in the 60s and 70s, the television moved into the dining room. So the TV dinners, the pot pies and the frozen chicken dinners that we were eating on the TV trays in the living room now became fast dinner with the TV as a central focus in the dining area. There's also the lessons for kids are being pushed more and more to build up their CVs and do everything all the other kids are doing, taekwondo and karate and violin and all the other extracurricular activities. So they too have to get that meal down, pick up their violin case and head out the door, where one of the parents is going to drive them to the lesson, and then these helicopter parents often hang around to make sure that they're getting the most from the money from the teachers. So home is just a stopover. It's just a gas station to fill up and take off again. And so there's that old feeling of sitting around the table after dinner, talking, joking, exchanging. In one generation, that has disappeared. And so what are we giving up? There's a price to pay for all of this freedom, all this activity, and quite a bit of documentation. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is from the University of Florida, and I'm going to read the results of one of the research. The results of the University of Florida research on the impact families eating together has on children indicates that, and I'm quoting now, having dinner together as a family at least 4 times a week has positive effects on child development. Families' dinners have been linked to lower risk of obesity, substance abuse, eating disorders, and an increased chance of graduating from high school. So you can see it's not just social ability, it can impact children in their school, it can impact them physically and their health and their whole outlook on life. In addition to health and positive results in the academic world, the specific skills that having dinner together are that it's the only time that children have an opportunity to speak with adults about non-structured subject matter. It's not mathematics, it's not English, it's not geography. Children can talk with an adult, the parents, about any topic they like, and there can be a free flow of conversation between the children at the table and the parents. It's not 25 children or 20 children in the classroom trying to get the attention of one teacher. It's very few children, and hopefully the exchanges between them all. There'll be competing voices. Children learn how to respect others and then have their ideas heard by everyone and get the feedback too. So they're testing their ideas every day with their siblings and with their parents. Not only their ideas, but they can see how the other children react and the parents, and they can develop their emotions and develop empathy for the others and see how they react in specific situations. They can test out new ideas. The dinner table should be a very safe place for children to test out new ideas and talk about things that they can't talk about with other adults. They get to use their narrative skills, talking about what happened during the day, or as my daughter says, bringing the tea home and discussing it. So they develop their narrative skills, their persuasive skills, because they also learn how to make compromises, test their sense of humor and develop their sense of humor, very important, and develop empathy for their brothers and sisters and their parents as they talk about what happened to them during the day. I'm going to give you one more quote from Laura Papano, and this is from an article called Power of Family Conversation, and I'm going to read this because I think it's pretty important. So Laura Papano, in her article on the power of family conversation, underscores the importance of parents as the source of the first building block in the development of a child's speaking and comprehension skills. She cites Gail Jordan, who's a professor at the Bethel University and a specialist in developing children literacy. And Gail Jordan says, "It is really what parents have been doing at home that children have to draw on when they become readers and writers. Retelling family stories, for example, reinforces the sequencing of ideas, emphasizes the value of detail, and sharpens children's narrative skill. Jordan notes that the social, emotional bonds parents have with children amplifies their learning." So there's a direct corollary between parents paying attention to what their children are saying and the children's academic development and social emotional development. Table conversation obviously develops vocabulary, which is in our times is very important because everything's being reduced to the simplest communication skills. And now that no one prays before they go to bed at night, which used to be a time for reflection and confession, but that's pretty much gone. The dinner table is the only time that people have to think about ideas and what they did during the day and reflect on their good actions and what they would rather have done differently, and also to, if necessary, confess what they wish they hadn't done. So the dinner table is the last confessional that we have. The dinner table is also a place to share knowledge. People talk at the table about different subjects that other family members don't know about. So it's in time to enrich their areas of knowledge as well as their language and also their values. It's the place that the family really instills their family values and their family culture in their members, especially for expat families who are, the children find themselves in international schools in a goulash of globalization where there are many different values and points of view, which is good. But if you want your child to know about their heritage, and their values and their country and their family values, there is only one place, and that's at your dining room table. So it's extremely important that you take this opportunity. How long does it last? Hopefully at least 20 minutes, a half an hour. And if you sit around after over dessert, you get 45 minutes or an hour of sharing and binding time. Huh? And there's one other aspect also beneficial from having dinner together. It's the only time your children have a chance to witness proper table etiquette. Now, I know that's another thing that people think is not important anymore, but someone who has proper table manners, when they go out to a business dinner or to someone else's home, or your son is invited to his girlfriend's family, and he doesn't know how to act at the table, or how to hold his silverware, or how to wait until everyone is sat at the table, it can impact the impression that he will make on others. And so if he knows, okay, my mom and dad taught me good manners, and I'm comfortable when I walk into someone else's home, or into a meeting, or into a restaurant where other people are eating, or they have the first date, because they've learned not to eat with their mouth open. Put a napkin on your lap. Don't put your knife on the plate, or whatever customs your family have chosen as proper table etiquette. This is the place to impart it. And if you don't, the kids are not going to get it. They're going to get fast food etiquette. So you owe it to them. And schools don't teach that anymore, and they should teach that, along with a lot of other things they should be teaching them. But instead they're teaching math and science that most of the kids will not use ever. So for expat families, extremely important to have that time, and that you see it as a sacred time for your family as a learning experience. But most of all, time at the table for your family and for you should be a happy time. It's not a place to criticize other members of the family, certainly not the food or a partner, and certainly not the children in front of siblings. If you want children need criticizing or encouragement or direction sometime, the dinner table is not the place to do it. Take them off by themselves in the room or someplace else and talk to them. But don't do it. Don't embarrass them in front of their siblings. It will be unpleasant, and they won't want to be there, and you want to keep them there as long as you can. So, you know, the dinner time is something to be cherished, and just as the Last Supper that has become so famous and so cherished, every time you eat, think about it, because it may be your last supper. On that note, it's Alexander Sebastian with Parents as Partners, wishing you bon appetit, and hope you enjoy this. We'll look for you for the next time, and please subscribe. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.